Hi, this is John with TechNexion, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use our VizionLink-HDMI capture card and our TEVI-OV5640 camera on our Wandboard EDM-G-IMX8M-PLUS. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first step in getting this connected up is knowing which connectors to connect up the correct way. And the way that we're going to do it in this video is we're going to connect up our VizionLink-HDMI receiver into camera 1. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that on there. And then it's very important to go ahead and screw these things down. Mainly because when you connect up these HDMI cables into this unit, it is possible that the HDMI cable will cause the unit to become disconnected from the baseboard connector, which is not a good idea. So we need to go ahead and screw these down. We provide a couple of little M1.6 millimeter teensy weensy screws for this purpose, and they screw right into these soldered standoffs that we've applied to the board. The TEVI-5640 camera can get plugged right into camera 2, the CSI2 camera input 2 slot here. And that's pretty much all we need to do. I'm not going to go ahead and tie that one down at the moment. I'm just going to leave it sitting there. The next thing to do is to take your USB to serial adapter and plug it into the console 1 port. This is the end here that plugs into the PCB. And one thing to know is that this little ground wire here, the black wire, that goes into the slot with the hole with the square pad. Alright, so now that's plugged in. We also need to have an HDMI monitor connected up to the system. This is how we're going to see the video output from our camera and our HDMI receiver. We need to have a power source. In this case, I'm just going to plug this into the USB Type-C connector, and we're going to power the board on. Okay, the first thing that we're going to do in this video is we're going to bring the camera interface up. So we're going to use this camera right here, and I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the desktop view. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and establish a session via our serial console here on the USB to serial connection. So for us to do that, we're going to go ahead and connect up using whatever serial terminal program you might prefer. I find it easiest to just use the screen application. So in order to do that, we just do sudo screen /dev/USTTY USB 0, and then you have to tell it what the baud rate is. And the baud rate, the default baud rate is 115.2 kbaud. Now we have that here. We need to go ahead and enter in our login, which is just root, and there's no password here. So the first thing that we need to do to just check the camera out, let me go ahead and start up my little video camera feed here so that you can see it. Okay, so what we need to do now is we're going to go ahead and use Gstreamer to view the output of the camera that we have here. GST launch, V4L2 source, I need to tell it the device. So let me actually pause here real quick, and let me see ls/dev/video star. And I'll see what devices I have. So I actually have 2 devices here. One thing that we'll learn about it is that with the IMX8M-PLUS, there's always at least 2 devices that's going to be generated. One is the capture device, and the other one is the M2M device. In order to be able to know which one is which, you can print that out. The M2M device is just memory-to-memory transfer device for the image sensor interface. So if you want to V4L2-control --list -devices, you can see which one is which. And you can tell this one is the cap device, video 1, and the M2M device, which is not really a capture device, you won't be able to use it, is /dev/video 0. So we need to go ahead, and so we're going to start with GST-launch -1.0 V4L2 source device equals /dev/video 1, and then I'm going to display that on the auto video sync. So right now we should see something pop up on the screen. Yay! Okay, so what you're seeing here is not a whole lot of activity, but what I'll do is I'll just put my hand in front of it, you can see my hand. I'll wave my hand in front of the video screen here. But if I put my hand in front of this camera, you'll see it. So this is the camera right here. And so you can see my hand waving in front of the camera. So we know that the camera is working. And if I want to change the resolution, I just need to change essentially what's called a caps filter. And I'll plug that in here just to explain what that is. So this just informs this particular part of the Gstreamer pipeline, the V4L2 source, that it wants to see a 640 by 480 video stream at 30 frames a second. So we're going to go ahead and start that up. We should see a lower resolution video stream here, which we do. And you can also see, since it's 640 by 480, now we have a 4 by 3 aspect ratio video stream. Now, if we want to do something a little bit different, you can see here that we have about 21.6 frames per second. We should see about 30 frames per second. And I think the reason why that is it's because of the there's some conversion that's being done here before the audio video sync is hit. And if you plug in a video accelerator, you can actually insert another element into the pipeline here, and you can make it go a little bit faster. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but clearly on my side right now, it looks like it's capturing at a much higher frame rate. You can see right there that the frame rate is already increased to about 28 frames per second, but that includes also the startup time. If we left it sitting there for a long time, you'd see that climb up to 30 frames a second with no problem. And if we want to look at even higher resolutions, for example, we can. So if I want to change this to 1920 by 1080, so full HD, we can do that. If I can type correctly. This is full HD, although on this particular camera, this is sort of a section of the image because what it does, instead of binning the full resolution image, it just cuts off part of it. Now, the next thing that everybody wants to see is this HDMI input. So for that, we'll have to do something a little bit special here. What that means is we'll have to actually go through and we're going to have to change the device tree for the kernel. Now, fortunately, what we've done is we've set up a number of different device tree overlays, and these should be included in your image that you would download from the TechNexion download server. If it's not, say if you're running an older image, no problem. I'll put some instructions on how to build a kernel as well as to build these device tree overlays with no problem. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that we're bringing in the correct device tree overlay. So for that, what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and reboot the machine, and we need to configure that in the U-boot environment variables. The U-boot environment variable DT overlay is what is used to store the names of the overlays that we want to apply to the device tree at boot. And to see the list of overlays that are available to us in the boot partition of the MMC, you can simply do this. So first thing we want to do is MMC list. So you want to see which MMCs are available. You can see that device 2 is the eMMC. So now we want to do fat ls MMC2 to list out the names of the files that are in that partition. Now you can see here, this is the kernel image, and we see a number of other files here. We also have these overlays. We have the main device tree right there. What I want to draw your attention to are these two overlays here. These are both overlays that pertain to activating the VizionLink-HDMI cards. This one with the dual on the end is the one that activates if you have two of these cards, so one in this slot and one in that slot, you could use that overlay. Since we have one HDMI here and then one camera, we also want to have one camera, we're just going to use this single cam1 overlay. And the way that we do this is we set an environment variable called DT overlay with the name of this overlay here. And to make things a bit simpler and more consistent across different development systems and platforms, what we've done is we've created a U-boot macro called load overlay. So if I go ahead and print env load overlay, you can see this script. And what this does is it goes through in this DT overlay variable that we'll create, and it finds every member of that variable, which is just essentially a big list of names, and it generates a file name, IMX8M-P EDM-G baseboard, which in this case is WB. right there, and then it adds this into it. So if this is a member of the DT overlay environment variable, then it will attempt to load a file with this name. So what we need to do is go to set env DT overlay, and then all I need to do is I need to essentially copy and paste this into it. And that's all we need to do. Actually, no, that's not correct. I need to take this part off, all right, because that is the baseboard name here. So we're going to go ahead and do that, set env, and I'm going to save env. This saves it to the eMMC, and then I want to go ahead and reset. So we have the board booting now. We're going to log into the board, and to make sure that this overlay is working right now, I want to go ahead and do a couple of things to confirm. First thing is I want to go, and the easiest is ls/dev/video star. And I see now that I have 3 devices here instead of just 2. And if I want to run the V4L cap again, V4L control again, I should say, V4L2, V4L2-CTL -list-devices, I should see 2 capture devices. Yes, and I do. I see that /dev/video0 is a capture device, and /dev/video1 is also a capture device. And then the M2M device is /dev/video2. So the first thing we're going to do, actually, we have to plug in our HDMI source. And we're going to go ahead and see if we can view some video. So gst-launch, same thing we did before. This time it's going to be device equals /dev/video0, because that is the device in cam1. And I'm just going to go ahead and pipe that to, I'm actually going to have to install, it's probably easier if I just go up. There we go. Video 0. Something else to understand here is that frame rate, because it's an HDMI input, frame rate is meaningless. It actually causes problems with the Gstreamer pipeline if you keep it there. So you just delete that. I'm going to go ahead and delete the IMX video convert, and we're going to go ahead and see if we can make that work. Okay, so this didn't work, and I'll tell you why. The reason why is because the ISI within the IMX8M-PLUS does not do video upscaling. So this source looks right now like it's a 1024 by 768 output, and the destination wants to be a 1920 by 1080 output. So the way that we need to fix this is we need to make sure that either the source is higher resolution than the destination, or we need to make sure that we're displaying something that's lower resolution than the source. So in this case, what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and configure the video output so that it is the correct resolution. So on a Mac, this is how you do it. I can create a scaled image, and I have it set to 1024 by 768, but say I want to do 1080p, and let's try that now. And voila! So you can see this right here is the HDMI input into the EDM-G-IMX8M-PLUS. And I'm going to go ahead and display a video here just to show you a full motion video running. And you're seeing a live video feed from the HDMI output on my computer. That is coming into the HDMI input on the EDM-G-IMX8M-PLUS development kit that we have here. That is being funneled into the HDMI output we have here using Gstreamer, and now it's being displayed on the video screen we see there. Hopefully this gives you a good idea of how this works, how to work with both the HDMI receiver as well as our TEVI-OV5640 camera on the EDM-G-IMX8M-PLUS development kit. If you want more technical information, feel free to visit our developer portal at developer.technexion.com. If you want more information regarding the development kit itself, as well as the accessories, the camera, as well as the VizionLink-HDMI receiver, please visit our website at www.technexion.com. It's where we keep all of our hard documentation as well as our web shop, so you can go to purchase the kit there. Thanks again for your attention. I'm John Weber. See you next time.